Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here with Crypto Common Sense, and I wanted to sit down this afternoon or this evening, and I wanted to really talk about some financial stuff. And this isn't going to be about charts, it's not going to be about technical analysis, it's not even really going to be about quote unquote trading. It's going to be about finances and just some of the crazy stuff that I've heard over the years and some of the myths and the bad programming that gets put into people as we grow up and as we age and society and all that kind of stuff. And so the first thing I want to talk about in this video is credit cards. A few years ago, I went to the bank and I don't remember exactly what happened now, but basically somehow credit cards came up and the teller completely overstepped their bounds and told my daughter, who was very young at the time, don't ever get a credit card, they're evil. Worst advice ever. And then it was a few weeks ago, my daughter comes home from school. She's almost out of high school now. And one of the teachers was talking about credit cards and how credit cards are evil and, telling the kids don't ever get a credit card. And it's just crazy to me that how bad that advice is. And what it really comes down to is this world that we live in today. So many people refuse to take responsibility for their own actions. Credit cards are one of the best things you can ever get. And not only, I'm going to break this down, I'm going to show you how to use credit cards to your benefit. I'm going to show you how I actually make money using credit cards every single year. But one of the most important things, especially in the United States, is your credit score. Unfortunately, the credit score system is very bogus. It's not a very good system, but it is very important. Having bad credit can keep you from getting the right job. Having bad credit can cause you to pay more in insurance premiums. Having bad credit can obviously cost you more when it comes time to get a loan or mortgage or car loan, whatever the case is. And you can even be denied credit or denied employment, things like that, over your credit score. Well, one of the most important factors of your credit score is your responsible use of credit. And one of the big things they look at is your credit card. It's what's called a revolving credit line. And by the way, if you're wondering, James, how are you qualified for this? This is what I did before I was a trader, before I was self-employed. I was a finance manager. So I understand finance, I understand credit scores, I understand all this stuff. I know what the banks are looking for when they do loans. I know what the banks are looking for when they're, buying credit, all that kind of stuff. So you want to have credit cards because it builds your credit score. Where people get this bogus idea about credit cards, right? So we'll look at some of these. I'm not endorsing any of these. I'm just going to give you an idea here. Where they get this bogus idea is, well, credit cards have horrible interest. It's 18% and 20% and 25% interest. Most people seem to be completely clueless to the fact that you don't pay that interest if you pay the balance off before it's due. So for example, if I go out right now and I spend $1,000 on a credit card and then I pay it off next week, I don't pay interest on that $1,000. It's only if I carry that balance for more than 30 days that I'm going to incur interest on that purchase. Okay, so as long as I pay it within 30 days, it's basically interest free. It's like paying cash. So this idea that credit cards are evil, no, they're only evil when you don't use them responsibly. Because sure, if you go out and run up a $10,000 or $20,000 balance on a credit card and don't pay for it, the interest is going to absolutely eat you alive. You have to use them responsibly. So for example, I have several credit cards, many credit cards, and the different credit cards offer different types of cash back. So for example, this year, Christmas rolled around, I went out and I bought my wife a really nice diamond necklace. Had 3 diamonds in it. It was a nice necklace. And it was fairly expensive. But you know what it cost me out of pocket? Depending on how you look at it, some people would say it was free. And you might be saying, what do you mean it was free? I paid for the necklace using credit card rewards, okay? Because I have different cards that give me different cash back. For example, I have a Chase Bank card that gives me 5% cash back when I use it on Amazon. I have a Capital One card that gives me 1.5% cash back everywhere. I have a card through my bank that gives me 2% at Walmart. I have a Sam's card that gives me 5% back at Sam's Clubs, 5% back on all gas purchases. Think about that for a second. If you're living somewhere where gas, for easy math, is $4 a gallon and you get 5% back, every time you buy a gallon of gas, you're actually getting paid 20 cents, right? You're getting 20 cents of that back. And so what I do is I just let all those rewards stack up throughout the year. And then every year I cash them in and I go buy Christmas gifts with them. And it ends up being a few $1,000s most of the time. I had a friend who used to use credit cards to pay for all his Facebook advertising, and he would literally spend millions of dollars a year on Facebook ads so that he would have tens of thousands of dollars of rewards, and he would just donate to charity every year. He would just donate that to a charity of his choice. So credit cards are awesome because they build your credit score. They literally pay you for using them as long as you don't carry balances. Okay? And, it's kind of like I started this excavating company a few months ago. Well, I could have paid cash for the excavator. I didn't want to because then that's money I can't invest. So I went and I checked. They had special financing available for those with good credit. So I was able to finance a $60,000 piece of equipment. My interest rate is 2.93%. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I have a lot of credit cards that I keep at zero balances. I use them responsibly. I have no late payments, right? I've never been late on a car payment. I've never been late on my mortgage, right? In the last 10 years. When I was young, I was a complete knucklehead and did all kinds of stupid stuff. But, so go out to the web and look and find the best credit cards for what you're using them for. And obviously, make sure that your credit score qualifies, find the credit that's going to work for you. And like a lot of people are like, well, it's kind of a chicken and an egg situation. I can't get a credit card because I have bad credit. Okay, we'll start with a secured credit card. That's what I did. I had bad credit once upon a time. I actually filed bankruptcy in 2005 because I was sued by the local hospital for more money than I could even dream of having at that time in my life. It was like $30,000 they sued me for. They were going to garnish my wages and all this nonsense. And so we consulted an attorney, and the attorney told us to claim bankruptcy, which didn't make sense to me because I wasn't behind on any bills. But the attorney said this is the only way to do it. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't listened to that attorney. The attorney was an idiot. But we claimed bankruptcy, ended up paying crazy interest rates and hurt us in a lot of ways. We would probably been better off just to pay the hospital bill and make payments on it. But I had bad credit, so when I wanted to rebuild my credit, I went out and got a secured credit card through my bank. It was a $3,000 secured credit card where I had to give them $3,000 cash, and they just held it as collateral. And I used that credit card for many years to build my credit up and then started getting unsecured cards. But go out on the web and find cards that work for you. They have different things. Like this one's 1.5 to 6.5% cash back, giving you $300 introduction offer. And again, I'm not an affiliate for any of this. I'm not recommending these. I'm just giving you an example. I just went to NerdWallet and looked at the best credit cards. 2% cash back. I don't like this miles crap. I want money. 1 to 10% cash back on this card. I've actually been looking at this one a lot lately. I'm thinking about getting this one. 1 to 5%, so on and so forth. So think about this. If you go out and spend, let's just say a nice round number. Say you spend $20,000 a year on groceries, gas, et cetera, and you're getting just a nice round number, say 2% back. Well, 2% of 20 grand, that's $400 you get back just for being responsible. It's friggin' awesome, right? It's friggin' awesome. So I want to talk about that. The other thing I want to talk about is, right now we have people that have money, just sitting in their cryptocurrency accounts, waiting for the market to bottom, or sitting in their stock accounts or whatever. Make sure that wherever you have your money parked at, make sure you're making money on that money. Right now with high interest rates, for some people it's really bad. For people who are trying to get credit right now, trying to take out mortgages, trying to buy cars on loans. Right now, a lot of stuff is kind of sketchy because interest rates are so high. But if you're somebody who's quote unquote cash rich, and it doesn't have to be millions, it doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands, cash rich to you might be $10,000 in the bank. Right? Whatever it is, if you're sitting on cash, make sure you're earning on it, because right now interest rates are so high that a lot of savings accounts, checking accounts, these things are paying wild interest rates. Even Robinhood right now is paying 4%. 4%. And again, people are like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. Say you got $10,000 sitting in a Robinhood account. Well, at the end of the year, what's 4% of 10,000? $400. Now, some people will turn their nose at, well, $400 isn't that big of a deal. Well, I'd like to know who you are and how much money you got that $400 is nothing to you, because I'm doing okay financially, and I know $400, I'm not going to light it on fire. I know plenty of people who have, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they're not just going to throw $400 in the toilet. If you can get $400 for doing basically nothing, why would you pass that up? Some people might have $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000, and then you're talking about thousands of dollars a year that you could be earning just sitting your money in, a lot of times, an FDIC insured account at a bank. So this is, according to Google, these are some of the best paying savings account right now. 4.35%, 4.16, 4.15. Really, really big deal, so on and so forth. Also, start looking at things like, over the last few years, nobody's wanted to get into CDs. Nobody's wanted to talk about CDs, because why would you want a CD that was paying 1 or 2% when you can make 10, 15, 20% in the market fairly easily, just, passive investing? Well, right now the market's in a slump. Obviously, it's returning negative right now. And so you might look at a CD for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever. And these are some of the best paying CDs. Like this one's 4.3%. I typed in best paying, and then some of these are coming back 0.03. That's just terrible. Terrible. But 4.8%, 4.85, 4.75, so on and so forth. So you can take a look at some of those. I bought some CDs a few weeks ago. I got 4.7, 4.8% CDs. They're all short-term, 9 to 12 month CDs. Money that I'm not going to, be doing anything with over the next, 9 to 12 months. Also, don't overlook bonds. For example, the I bonds, right? They were going wild a few months ago. They were paying 9.62%, and I think they re-rated them to like 6.8 or 6.7%, something like that. And if you're in the U.S., I believe, I'm not 100%, so double check this, but I believe $10,000 is the limit for most people, for single people. I think you can do $10,000 per social security number. I don't know. I just did 10,000. I didn't put one. I didn't max it out. I didn't put my daughter's name and my wife's name, and I didn't go crazy with it. I probably should have, but I put one in my name, and that was all I did. Because the money is locked up when you do an I bond. But at the end of the day, like, there's so many stupid myths that go around that people buy into. They just accept, oh, credit cards are evil, credit cards are bad. Credit cards are no more evil and no more responsible for people's financial problems than a spoon is responsible for somebody being fat, right? It's what you do with that spoon. It's not the credit card's fault that people get a credit card, completely max it out, and then make the minimum payment on it instead of paying it off. Yeah, they're paying absorbent interest, and it's stupid and it's ridiculous. A friend of mine recently found out that his wife had ran up a $15,000 credit card behind his back. Needless to say, he was very, very upset about it. But that's just irresponsible. That's not the credit card's fault that she did that. That's her fault. The fact that she hit it, that's a whole other conversation. But as long as you're responsible with credit cards and as long as you're diverse with your investments, a lot of times you're going to be better off for that. And again, don't pass up free money. It's just stupid. I don't care how much money you have or don't have. Passing up free money makes no sense. So, make sure that the money that you do have, make sure that you're earning returns, whether it's interest or whatever on that money. On credit cards, make sure that you are using credit responsibly. Get those credit cards that have those high cashback rewards. For example, right now, my Chase card has been running a special for the last 90 days, and it's actually been giving me 10% cash back on gas. 10%. Now, I'm really lucky where I live at. Gas is pretty affordable anyway. It's about $2.74 a gallon right now. But still, 10% of that knocks 27 cents off a gallon. My truck only gets 10 miles of the gallon, so, it does add up. Instead of paying $2.74 after that discount, I'm paying more like $2.40, like $2.50, something like that. $2.47, somewhere in that ballpark after the discount. So all of that stuff adds up. And I've been doing that for a number of years now, where I just buy Christmas every year with credit card rewards. And it's fun. It makes the holidays a lot less stressful because you're not coming out of pocket a bunch of money. You're not worrying about, how am I going to cover Christmas this year? You just go out. You have this, in my case, I have these rewards, and I just go nuts with it. And we always have a really good Christmas and a lot of fun. And, we don't stress about what we spend because it's all, quote unquote, free money anyway. So, yeah, I wanted to sit down and do this. I know it's not trading, but it is really important. And especially for those of you that do have a little bit of cash right now, maybe you were smart and cashed out some of your crypto and stuff. Just remember that there's an opportunity cost. When you leave money sitting on an exchange that's not earning, you're actually losing money. Yeah, you're missing out on free money. And also keep in mind, for those of you that have been convinced that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, while it is technically true that one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, just keep in mind that as long as your money is stuck in Bitcoin, it's not earning passive interest in an FDIC insured bank account. And same thing with some people they fall in love with these stocks and they're like, oh, I'm an investor, I'm a long-term investor, I don't care how low it goes. Okay, but you could take that money put it in an interest-bearing account, actually be earning money, and then buy it at a much better rate later, possibly. Not saying that's, I'm not saying you should sell all your investments, but I'm saying like really don't fall victim to these, myths about, just hodl, it's the best thing to do, and just long-term investors. Well, I don't care whether you're a long-term investor or short-term investor. Make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. In fact, I was not even going to look at charts today, but just to give you a perfect example of this, let's look at Tesla. I had so many people get so frustrated with me when I was hating on Tesla last year. Oh, Tesla's going to change the world. Elon Musk is an innovator. You'd be crazy to bet against Tesla. I don't care if it goes down a little bit. I'm a long-term believer. Tesla is now down over 70%, almost 74% from its all-time high. You can be a long-term believer. That's great. I'm happy for you. If you believe in that company, wonderful. But why would you be buying at $400 a share when you could be buying at $113 a share? Or realistically, why would you be buying at $400 a share when there's a very high probability that it's going to go back down to $25 or $30 a share and retest this old range high, or at the very least retest this breakout high from 2020 at around 64 bucks? Why would you be pouring it up here? If you think this is going to be a $10,000 stock someday and you put $10,000 in right here, you're going to buy roughly 25 stocks or so, and later it'll be worth $250,000 if you're right. Okay, but you put in the same 10,000 down here, and how many stocks can you buy, right? Many, many times more stock. So if it really does go up to some crazy number in the future, you're talking about millions of dollars in differences and the end result. Being in a hurry and being lazy and just throwing money at the market, it's just ignorant. It's ignorant. It's just as ignorant doing that as it is not taking advantage of credit cards. It's just as ignorant doing that as it is not, taking advantage of these high interest, federally insured accounts. It's just nuts. It's absolutely asinine to just blindly throw money at an asset and then use the cop out, I'm a long-term investor. Well, Warren Buffett, who's considered one of the best investors of all time, is a value investor. He looks for assets that are undervalued and he invests in them. And that's why he's so wonderful at what he does. He doesn't say, oh, I like Tesla, and just start throwing money at it. He buys Tesla when he thinks Tesla's underpriced, not overpriced. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up there because it's getting kind of long. I hope you did enjoy it. If you do have any questions about any of these concepts, like I said, feel free to leave me a comment below. This is my background. Finance is something that I did do before I was self-employed and before I became a trader. That being said, obviously, I am still just some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. So nothing in the video is financial advice. You should always go out and do your own due diligence and seek out professional financial advice from a licensed financial advisor before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency, the stock market, precious metals, Forex, or any other tradable asset. Stop now, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you leave me a comment below. Even if you don't have a question, just leave me a comment and let me know that you enjoyed the content. This is James with Crypto Common Sense, reminding you all to please trade safe. I'll talk to you soon.